Shivoham, 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 Shivoham. 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 Shivoham, Shivoham.
Shuklambaradaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Manojavam Marutatulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtham Vatatmajam Vanarayudha Mukhyam Shri Ramadutam Sharanam Prapadhye. Namaste. Welcome to Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam for another session of Divine Satsang, where we begin this yagna with Kriyas, where we invoke the energy of Hanuman in a true sense of sadhana and practice and abhyasa. We shall begin with 3 ohms. Along with 3 ohms, allow a lot of air to escape from your mouth. It is a cleansing. Lean forward with every ohm. Let a lot of empty the lungs as you do this. Let a lot of air escape. And then you inhale and come up. Let's begin with the first ohm. You may want to swallow the saliva before you begin these kriyas. Inhale. Inhale, come up. Sit up tall and straight. Gently pull your stomach in slightly. Hold it there. Maintain it as a lock. Lock it in place. Keep it locked throughout the practice. Inhale. Shift your awareness to your throat. Partially close the glottis. Now this is very difficult to explain. People have asked me to explain this. I even got an email today to explain. It's very difficult because there's no way to show you. But all you have to do is, when you breathe out through the mouth, close it and continue hearing the ha. So you see the air is flowing out of the throat. So that is what is meant by partially closing the glottis. So practice that. It is easier to breathe out this way. Then slowly with practice you'll learn to breathe in as well. You will hear the sound of air as it passes through the throat. It's not very complicated, just needs a little bit of practice. So partially close the glottis. Inhale. Inhale and come up. The Ujjayi and the Uddiyana, keep it in place throughout the practice. Inhale. And then we begin the Kamala Kriya. Here again, questions came regarding Kamala Kriya, so give me a couple of minutes to explain this. There is an element of visualization that goes with the Kamala Kriya that enhances its practice. And what is that? The energy, the prana that you are absorbing not only enters through the throat, through the nostrils when you suck in through the throat using the Ujjayi, but it also enters through your palms, especially when you do the Kamala Kriya consciously, because the palms are also connecting to the lungs. So how do you visualize this? When you inhale, the lungs expand. That means air is going in. It's like a balloon. So when the air goes in, the balloon expands. So when you're expanding your hands, always understand the logic, then visualization becomes easier. When you expand your palms, the lungs are expanding. So when the lung is expanding, you're breathing in. That means prana is entering from the center of your palm. This is why we seek Guru's blessings, because it will radiate energy. And you will be able to do that with practice. Many years you will receive and give energy. So you will receive through the middle of the palm, visualize prana entering your lungs. It enters through the nostrils, through the breath. It also enters through the palms. And then when you exhale, visualize all the toxins not only going out, but prana from here, vital prana, leaving your body and going into the universe to bless. This prana leaving out is not going to make you weak, but visualize prana coming in, and as the toxins are being released, prana also goes out of the body. Because inside the prana is the mind and so on. So a part of you is everywhere. So nothing is going out of you actually. So think about this and visualize it thus. Prana enters when you expand, and as you exhale and contract into a fist, gently the prana leaves. So think of the balloon that deflates as the air goes out, and the balloon inflates as the air comes in. It is the same air. So you circulate prana. You have to circulate prana. When prana is being circulated, prana becomes very powerful. And in that circulation, incidentally, it cleanses your body and all of that. But you will learn to allow universal energy flow into you and outside of you. You don't contain this energy in you. You just let it flow in you and out. Feel the blessing of the Mahaprana entering in and going out. So that is why this Kamala Kriya is very powerful. And once you understand and practice this, you will be on your way to really go into deep meditation when you attain mudras. Like I say, you will attain the Shuddhi of these mudras. They will all begin to influence the mind. So, Kamala Kriya, with that in mind, just visualize. You can visualize a golden light, blue light, whatever you think is prana. Prana is beyond all of that. But just visualize an energy flowing into the lung from both sides. And as you breathe out, visualize that energy going back into the universe, having blessed your body, going back into the universe. Okay, this is not your energy or my energy, this is universal energy. And therefore, let's begin. Inhale at your own pace. We'll practice this a little longer today just so to help you visualize. You're opening your palms to receive from the divine. And you close your palms gently as you offer the prana back into the universe. Maintain the bandha as you practice. Feel the connection between the movement and the lungs. Wonderful. All right. We'll practice a little more of Kamala Kriya today because that's a very beautiful, very powerful, and yet very subtle and easy practice. The simplest things are the most profound, it is said, and in this case, it cannot be more true. We shall do just 3 rounds of Kaka Shuddhi and once again go back to Kamala Kriya. You're going to inhale, powerful exhalation through your mouth, like you're almost coughing, mouth spouted like so, and continue that till you can exhale no more. Then you inhale and come. Sit up tall and straight. And begin 3 consecutive rounds at your own pace. Once again, go back to Kamala Kriya. Maintain the bandha. Wonderful. Agnisara. Again, let's do just 3 of these today. Breathe out fully, hold the breath out, pull your stomach in, flap the stomach in and out. And then inhale and come up. Again, breathe out, repeat the same thing. Do it 3 times at your own pace. The Agnisara ignites the heat here that pushes the prana and maintains it back in the region of the chest. At your own pace, begin. Kamala Kriya. All right. If it helps you, when I began doing this, I would imagine an arrow of the divine. It could be Rama's arrows, it could be Rudra's arrows. The arrow in the form of prana pierces my palm and enters, and then a divine light goes out of my arms into the universe. So it's up to you. I'm just giving you an idea. Use that visualization, then it becomes a real experience. It's wonderful. Let's do the Markata Kriyas. We'll just do one today because I know we spend time learning, and that's fine. So let's do one mindfully. Keep the bandha in place throughout. Let's begin. Inhale. Exhale. 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 Once again, go back to Kamala Kriya. If you are visualizing arrow, let it be a arrow of light, arrow of gold, arrow of whatever color you want. Inhale and exhale at your pace. Mindful breathing. Listen to the breath. Feel the Mahaprana entering your body and leaving your body. Think of it as if you're receiving the divine with open palms into your body, into your temple, and gracefully allowing the divine to go back into the universe with every inhalations and exhalations. All right, Pranaam, Kriya. Let's sit in Vajrasana. Toes together, heels apart. Sit up tall and straight. Go into a mudra here, the Brahma mudra. Roll your thumbs in first, fingers over your thumbs. Place it on either side of your belly button. Stomach is pulled in. Inhale. As you exhale, collapse on top of your thighs. Rest your head on a block or on the floor. Collapse completely. Breathe in and out through the back of the lungs, between the shoulder blades. 5 deep breaths. When you're done, gently inhale, come up. Release the mudra, maintain the bandha. Come back to your seated posture. Sit up tall and straight. Once again, Kamala Kriya. Practice this with visualization. We will just do 2 rounds of Bhastrika. Practice Kamala Kriya. All right, excellent. Since we are talking of Kamala Kriya, this enters your lungs, but as you keep practicing, allow this to go from the lungs all the way right up to the third eye. So the prana that enters from both your hands forms a beautiful, it's like a temple, a pyramid that forms and then leaves, energizing the whole body. You're connecting with the universe. Remember that with this practice. All right. Bhastrika. First round slow, 30 counts. We've done this before. You're going to inhale and exhale sharply. Keep the stomach in, bandha in place. Lungs become the bellows of the blacksmith. Sit up tall and straight. When you're ready, let's begin. Kamala Kriya. All right. Excellent. There is a lot to learn in this Kamala Kriya. So in order to help you understand, when you inhale from the heart chakra is right in the middle, not the physical heart, but the heart chakra. Feel that the heart chakra is sucking the prana in through the palms. The arrow of light that enters is being pulled from here into the body. So it enters like this. And then it goes all the way and then comes out. With practice, you can do that pulling thing right from the third eye, pulls the whole thing into the third eye and then sends it out. So these are powerful visualizations. I'm giving you these ideas, just open your mind. There's no right and wrong. Feel free as long as you inhale and exhale the prana. Prana should flow in and out. That is the healthy sign of it. We ran out of time, so we will skip the Bhastrika, but we will end with a few rounds of Nadi Shodhana, Pranayama. So again with the left hand, continue. So there is a lot going on now. With the left hand, the energy continues to flow, and the right hand, we perform the Nadi Shodhana that circulates this prana all throughout the body that is coming in from the universe. All right. Forefinger and middle finger down, neck down, shoulders relaxed. We're going to go left in, right out, right in, left out. Alternate. Left in 4 counts, right out 8 counts. Right in 4 counts, left out 8 counts. Let us all expand our consciousness into the mantra Ram as we focus on the breath. Let our spirits connect in that oneness, and let there be healing, light, and love. Let's practice.
Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale.
साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं राम नाम वरानने। श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं राम नाम वरानने। श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं राम नाम वरानने।
Namaste. Welcome to Kaivalya Yoga Gurukula for another delightful, enlightening satsang in the company of the divine, where we open our hearts and our minds and continue this learning. A learning that we can practice, a learning that we can absorb into our everyday life. That has been the aim of this yagna, self-transformation, self-empowerment, self-improvement, self-introspection, where we learn to come face to face with the ghosts in our closet, where we overcome our fears, our weaknesses, the little ones that oftentimes become a hindrance in our spiritual path. And when we take those baby steps, following the footsteps of Hanuman, learning the lessons of faith, devotion, selflessness, of Dhriti, Drishti, Mati, and Dakshinyam. So, when we learn these qualities and make them ours, then the yagna becomes fruitful. I received an email that said, how do we know if this yagna is going to help us or not? How do we know that we are successful in this yagna? This is how you will know. When you start inculcating whatever you learn, whatever makes sense to you, but you start absorbing it and bringing it into your everyday practice. Make some concrete changes in your lifestyles. Not very big, drastic ones, but simple things. How can I make my life more mindful? Ask yourself. How can I speak more mindfully? How can I be more mindful of what are the sounds that enter my ears? What are the sounds that leave my mouth? How can I be more mindful of the food that comes into my mouth? How can I be more mindful of my senses? And thus you can become more mindful, not judgmental, mindful. And that mindfulness helps us. It plants seed deep inside in the chitta, what the modern science understands as, modern psychology understands as unconscious or subconscious mind. It begins to make changes deep within. And it is that chitta that eventually creates the reality for us. So why am I talking about that? Because we are entering into that phase of learning. Today we won't have a chanting here, but I'm going to study these verses. Tomorrow I'll add these 10 odd verses, 2 more verses and chant together. We won't have the Sanskrit chant. But nevertheless, we will study the subject matter of this. So Hanuman is recounting his tales, is describing his journey to his fellow Vanaras. And he has talked about Mainaka, he's talked about Surasa, he's talked about Simhika, crossing all these 3 obstacles. He says, then I see Lanka at a distance. And then he comes, and then he says, when I land there, I am meted with this ferocious demon who looks like a female demon, but she's ferocious. And she says, and she blocks my entrance into Lanka. And she does not allow me to go in. So Hanuman is confronted by what we all know today as Lankini. Lankini in the story was a Rakshasi, a she-demon, who guarded Lanka. She wouldn't let anyone enter Lanka. Under the orders of Ravana, she was guarding Lanka. So when Hanuman wanted to enter, obviously, he could not escape Lankini. Even though he took a miniature size, she had this divine gift. She was a powerful demon herself. So how did Hanuman tackle Lankini? Did he kill her? What did he do? We had studied this earlier, but it's good to refresh our memory a little bit because Valmiki comes back to this for our sake again, and Hanuman is recounting it for our sake again. So Hanuman very simply tells us, what does he say? He tells Vanaras, I struck her. I just struck her with my left hand. I struck her with my left hand and she fell down. And then she gets up and says, "Oh Vanara, I bow to you. You've come on a mission. You'll be successful. You will go and punish all the demons and you will bless them." And she allows me. So it's fascinating how different demons are treated differently, right? Different obstacles are treated differently. So Mainaka was treated in a particular way, the Mainaka mountain. The Surasa, the serpent, was treated in a particular way. Simmika was annihilated in a particular way. Now Lankini, who's blocking his entrance after all this struggle, shouldn't he also finish her off in the story? But no. He says, "I just struck her with my left hand." Now there are many meanings to this. We also studied this, I think day 14 or day 15. But left hand, why would Valmiki say left hand and Hanuman repeats it again? So Valmiki wants us to focus on that again. I struck her with my left hand. Left hand, two implications. One is, oh, baya hath ka khel hai. This is my left hand. I think baya means left. I hope so. I think so. I'm always confused between daya and baya. Anyway, so it's my left hand. I can do it with my left hand. It's a way of saying that it was so simple, I just brushed her away. I pushed her and she fell down. That is one way of looking at it, right? Because Hanuman is powerful, Hanuman is strong, he can do that. So that's one way. But the left arm also signifies the nature of why would he use a left arm against this demoness. Why? So we have to understand who this demoness is. So when we are entering Lanka, now we are going to go into the symbolism of this. Once again, I'm just refreshing your memory. Perhaps this will be like going through it again, but these are so important for us to understand. Lanka is deep inside the Muladhara. We have crossed the ocean, the water element, the Swadhisthana, overcoming all the senses and everything, and we are coming into the Muladhara. In the Muladhara, the basic lies our, for the lack of any other way to explain, because you and I can relate to these terms today, let us use the word subconscious, unconscious mind. But in yogic terminology, it is called the chitta. The chitta is a basket where it holds the I, the mind, the intuition, impulses, vasanas, samskaras, all of that, every knowledge, every experience that we have gained across many, many lifetimes and in this lifetime is all stored deep inside the chitta. And the chitta itself is deep inside the Muladhara. And Devi is there. So you see, even just taking a break from here, the concept of Devi being there, Devi means Mother Sita, Devi is Parashakti herself. When Parashakti is there, what does that mean? When you understand the story and the Puranas of the Shiva Purana, for example, I'm diverting, but then I'm connecting the dots for you all to understand that all of them are pointing to the same truth. In the Shiva Purana, it says Parvati goes in to a private quarters and she tells her son Ganesha to guard the entrance. So Ganesha there is guarding the entrance of this. So Ganesha resides in the Muladhara. And so there also is an indication that Parvati is in the Muladhara, right? And of course that Ganesha had to get wiser, and so Shiva comes and removes his ego head off and all that. So we'll explore that some other day. But the point here is that Ganesha is in the Muladhara because he is guarding the entrance of our. That's why we pray to him before anything, because then he opens the door and allows the divine Shakti to flow. That Parvati, the Shakti element, the creative energies, once those and that energy begins to flow, then you begin to live your life more empowered because you're using that energy. So that's why we offer prayers to Ganesha, because that is an energy there. That we say, please open the Muladhara. And so that is one side. Now here, it's kind of similar. So when Hanuman is entering, there Shiva cut off Ganesha's head. Remember, it was not easy, even for Shiva to go inside. So that is another story. You see the symbolism here, kind of similarity. Here Hanuman wants to enter Lanka. Hanuman was flown.
100 yojanas, right? 100 yojanas, and got over all that. Again, he is confronted with this obstacle. So, how does he deal with this? What is this obstacle? The obstacle here is that when you're entering into the deep innermost recesses of the chitta in search of Mother Sita, there is a point where your conscious mind stops and you're entering the realms of the subconscious, unconscious. Like I said, I'm just going to use those terms because practically you cannot enter there. You can't enter the subconscious mind consciously. Right? It's kind of a little, it's funny there. But you can't enter it consciously. So how do you do that? So what happens is when we use, and I'll come to that in a minute. But when you're entering the deep recesses of your mind, what comes up is the conscious mind. The conscious mind comes up. So now you might say, wait a minute, didn't Hanuman just finish the ego? And does finishing the ego means everything is gone, right? Mind. Now, in modern psychology, ego, conscious mind, all of them are kind of clubbed together. But in Vedanta, we don't do that. There is mano, buddhi, ahankara, chitta. Manas, buddhi, ahankara. All of them are separate. Manas is separate, ahankara is separate. Not like watertight compartments, but ahankara, the I-ness, the false identity is one thing. But the mind is still there. The conscious mind is still there. That is functioning, creating an awareness. That conscious mind is there. That mind prevents you to go in, and therefore she comes up and says, you can't go, I am guarding that. The conscious mind always is like a guard. It filters what goes into the subconscious, which is good. It is done by design. But then there are times you want to go inside and change the very parameters of your reality. You want to go deep inside and fix the problem at the very source, right? But what do you do? Then the conscious mind comes up and stops us. Right? And so Hanuman tackles this conscious mind, does not kill it. You can't kill that mind, but you just push her aside. You push her aside. You struck her with the left hand. Why left? Left side is the left side of the body activates the right side of the brain. The right side of the brain is creative. At this point, the left breath, which activates the left side of the body, crosses and goes to the right side. And the right side, the right nostril, which activates the right side of the body, at this point, it crosses and goes to the left side. So the right side activates the logical side, argumentative side, thinking side, extrovertism, all of that comes from the right side. That is why the sun is on the right side. Right side activates your left brain. I know it sounds a little confusing, but just understand this because it's important we have to understand it here. The left side, on the other hand, left side, the left nostril is ideal for going into meditation. The left nostril is active, left nostril breathing, Shakti principle, creativity, painting, talent, music, all of that comes when the left nostril is active. We will study this more in detail. There is a whole sadhana on the nostril breathing. So when the left nostril is active, the right side of the brain becomes active. In other words, our creative side, our intuition, meditation, all of that comes in, creativity. Right? So there is Shiva and Shakti. That's why you have Shiva and Shakti. That's why Shakti sits on the left side of Shiva, Vama Bhage. And same thing with Surya and Chandra, sun and the moon, as we understand it in yoga language, sun and the moon. So when Hanuman uses his left side to tackle the conscious mind who is coming up and saying you can't enter the subconscious, how can you go into the subconscious mind? Only by activating the intuitive, meditative aspect of our personality, not by logical thinking. So the right brain, the right side of the body, in other words, the left side, the analytical brain, the logical brain, right now you're thinking, wait a minute, how does it make sense? So perhaps your left side of the brain, in other words, the right side of the body is getting activated. And when the left brain gets activated, the conscious mind is more active. It prevents. But when I tell you a story, and you and I are listening to a story of Valmiki, and Hanuman is flying over the ocean, and we are listening, what is happening is there are pictures being created in the mind's eye. And those pictures are created in the right side of the brain because the right side of the brain is creative. It paints pictures. It creates those cartoons for us, right? And it creates that imaginary world. So when that imaginary world begins to happen, that is the language the subconscious mind understands. The subconscious mind understands in pictures. The subconscious mind is tackled through sounds, no meaning. The moment you put meaning, then conscious mind becomes active. When you don't put meaning, the subconscious mind is active. So a picture is worth 1,000 words. Why do we say? Because you see a picture, it has a lot more impact than 1,000 words. Why? Because when somebody is telling you 1,000 words, like I'm going blah, 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 it only makes you think more. But if there was a picture I could show you, everything is explained. Something touches you, right? When you look at the altar, it's different from somebody describing the altar. This was not or is not a modern day science thing. This is exactly what the Puranas, the ethics, the entire Sanatana Dharma, the concept of meditation, and all of this is developed by this. This is why those stories were created. This is why, not stories were created, but the whole energy of that story was passed down from generations to generations because they understood the power of the chitta that we call today subconscious, unconscious. To some part of chitta is also subconscious and unconscious. Yes, so it's not completely wrong. But that's not the whole chitta, right? Look at it this way. Why is that so powerful? Right now you are listening to me, I'm talking to you, but there are so many processes that are going on inside our body without our conscious effort. Are you making a conscious effort to bat your eyelids or to breathe or your heart beat and make sure the blood is flowing everywhere? Are you making any conscious effort? Not really, right? So more than 90% of our body is controlled by subconscious processes. And it is the same thing with our thoughts as well. What we think, what we are able to think and analyze and all of that is only the tip of the iceberg. There is a huge mountain of ice under the surface of the sea. And that is the power of the chitta. And that is what is actually creating this reality. So you and I cannot very easily and consciously say, all right, I want this changed. Why is it not happening? I did this so many days. Why is it not happening? Why is it not? It doesn't happen that way. But when we bring in practices that affect the chitta, that drill holes and recreate neurons and recreate the values system, core belief system and all of that, if you want to go and drill it and clean it, then what is the methods you adopt? You adopt methods which are left-handed. In other words, creative in nature. Creative in nature. Fine arts, dance, music, bhajans, kirtans. Why are they more effective? Because they trigger the right side of the brain, the left side of the body. The Shakti is triggered. And that Shakti does its magic in the subconscious. The conscious mind is thinking of the form and the name, and that picture creates an image and gets imprinted in the subconscious mind very easily. That is why I keep saying, even in the Kriyas, when we do the Nadi Shodhana, focus on the breath. Keep the conscious mind engaged. Keep the guard engaged, so occupied that you slip in the more powerful messages into the subconscious mind. Keep them engaged in a technique. What we do is, we do some techniques. Okay, I do the bandha, I'm doing this, then what do I do, then what do I do? We are trying to consciously go into the deeper regions. We cannot do that. That is why meditation cannot be taught after a point. I can teach you the techniques and I'll say keep on practicing the techniques. Because the conscious mind can only take you up to that Lanka. Then Hanuman has to push. Then there is another energy that goes into the chitta and discovers Sita. So that again is not a conscious effort. That is why we need the help of images, visualization, imagination, and sound. And bhava. Bhava means the attitude. Bhava is the feeling with which you practice, the feeling with which you sing, the feeling. That is more important because that feeling creates that deep connection. Again, sounds. Now, when you say sounds, we are talking of mantras. What kind of mantras? The most powerful sounds that affect the subconscious. In other words, like Hanuman's left hand. So, what was that weapon? I'm trying to explain to you that weapon of the left hand. Shreem, Kreem, Om, Ram. No meaning. We have attributed meaning to that. It doesn't matter if you don't know the meaning. These words have power. The sounds have power. The sibilants in Sai, Sita, the R in Ram, Ram, Ram. When your tongue vibrates against the palate of the mouth, it sends powerful vibrations, and those vibrations begin to alter the divinity, alter the reality within and recreate the reality that the sound creates. And the sound is simply opens your mind from its limitations. Shreem. Shreem, if it means abundance, there is no I want abundance, may abundance be mine, none of that. That kills the whole idea. Then the conscious mind will come and started begging and pleading, and all the drama is created by the conscious mind, and the entire effect of that mantra is stopped right there and gone. So therefore it is sometimes better not to understand the meaning of the mantra, but focus on the sound, listening, more than chanting, listening. And if you can chant, it's even better, because now your tongue, your mouth, and the two sources of noise or sound, ear and mouth, both correlate and become that. So I'm listening to what I'm saying, like Sita, Ram, Sai Ram, Sita Ram. That Ram is so powerful. So that these are powerful mantras. Krishna, the K and the R, these are all powerful aksharas, sounds that are given to us when we use these different aspects of our throat. And I'm planning to do these short classes before I conduct more Veda classes, because without understanding these basics of sound, no amount of all of that will really help. So we will study that. But here, the importance I'm saying is, Hanuman taking care of Lankini in order to enter Lanka is a very important aspect for us, because we cannot get spiritual experiences. We cannot meet the divine with the conscious mind. The conscious mind is only about this awareness. And that's why there is no answer to why can't I see God. We cannot see God. It's not the defect of the senses. It is more the conscious mind that blocks the experience of divinity, because it is above the senses, and the conscious mind does not understand what does that mean, because it cannot analyze, it cannot logically think, and therefore it will say, no, that is just your imagination, that's false, this is real. What the senses know is real. So Lankini comes and blocks us from entering every time. But then the Sanatana Dharma, the ancient practices, yogic practices, they focus on the breath. When you focus on the technique of breath, inhalation, left and right, right and left, and so on, and all the kriyas that we are doing, the conscious mind is completely caught into that. technique. Am I breathing properly? What is the sound of the breath as it comes in? What is the temperature of the breath as it leaves the body? How long can I breathe? Can I breathe in more? Focusing on the technique, and that's perfect. Perfect for the conscious mind. So just keep it engaged. What happens then, the subconscious mind, that gate into the subconscious, in other words, into the chitta, into Lanka, is wide open. And so when we practice it with some mantra just gently going in, the mantra goes and does the job. Rama enters Lanka, meets Sita. We don't have to worry. But then how will we experience that? Then when that meeting happens inside, that chitta in turn will recreate a reality. And then you will begin to see blessings in our life. That is more important. So when the divinity awakens within, its effects that you feel are more important. And that awakening is so important. Not our experiences, but the true awakening. So this is why this is the symbolism of Lankini. So let us focus on the bhava, the feeling that emanates when you pray. Just allow that bhava. In the meantime, you focus on the rituals. Why was rituals brought in Sanatana Dharma? We call that karma in those days, yagnas and yagas and all of that. Why was it brought in? Because the conscious mind is now focused on the flame. Should I offer the samagri into the flame? What do I do here? What mantras do I chant? All of that is going on. The conscious mind is caught up in the act of the ritual. Just like in yoga, the conscious mind is caught up in the act of breathing, in the act of asanas. But the subconscious mind then opens and absorbs the experience, the richness. The prana that is exchanged is actually caught and received by the subconscious mind. So, bhava, visualizations, imagination, these are the ways where your left hand, you will become the left hand of Hanuman. And with that left hand, you will gently strike the conscious mind. And she gives you way. She bows and says, you go in. I can't stop you. Right? That is the symbolism of what can happen. See, Ramayana is such a powerful thing. I didn't realize the depth of Sundarakand until I'm studying it with you all. And this, every part of Sundarakand opens so many dimensions into our own sadhana. Gives us so many clues. How do I practice this? How do I control this mind? Don't control the mind. Just keep the mind occupied. And so I'll tell you a small story. Baba has told us a story, and it's not his story in the sense like many saints have said the story also. So there was a student who was working very hard for his ashram, and the guru was very happy with him. And so after a function, after the student, one of his students had worked very hard, the guru said, I want to bless you. You're always working. You're in the kitchen, or you're washing clothes of your fellow brothers in the ashram. You're doing something or the other. You're gardening, you're cleaning and sweeping. I'll give you a gift. Whatever you want, ask me and I shall give it to you. And so the student says, oh Guru, I'm so grateful you thought of me. I definitely want something. And the Guru says, what is it that you want? He says, please give me a genie who can do all this work for me, so that I can come and sit at your feet and listen to your teachings. I am also a little tired doing all this work. So give me a genie who at my command will do all this work. And the master says, all right, if that's what you want. But know that I'm creating a genie who will work for you. So you have to constantly and continuously keep him occupied. He doesn't know how to sleep. He doesn't know what is rest. Okay? So this genie will come and he will do it. The disciple says, of course, I have got so many things on my plate. I can keep this genie busy. So yes. And the Guru blesses him. He says, go to your room. He'll be there for you. And so the disciple rushes to his room, and lo and behold, there is this massive genie waiting and says, Master, what can I do for you? And this disciple is happy. He says, okay, I have a bundle of clothes to be washed. Please go ahead and do that. And within like 2 seconds, the genie is back and says, what next, Master? And the disciple says, wait, what? You finished? Yeah, they're all finished. They're hanging out and drying. Okay, clean all the vessels in the ashram kitchen. That should keep you occupied for the rest of the day. The genie nods, goes within a few minutes and comes back and says, that's done. I mean, he's a genie, right? Like a Superman. He does everything so fast. So very soon, in a couple of hours, everything that this disciple thought of was done. And the master has said, keep him occupied, otherwise he will destroy you. You cannot keep him idle. An idle genie destroys you. So this disciple was at his wit's end. He kept giving some silly work here and there, but it was all over before he even blinked his eyes. So he ran back to his master. He said, I made a big blunder, master. I made a big blunder. I don't want this genie. I mean, I can't keep him occupied. What can I do? Please help me. And then the master says, all right, since you have been so nice, I will give you an idea. You have to just keep him busy. And of course the disciple said, I've given him every single work I can think of. He does everything. Now he's chasing me. He wants more work. What? Please help me. There was a flagpole outside the Guru's house in the ashram, because that house was in the center of the ashram. So there was a flagpole and a flag of the ashram was flying. The Guru said, since you have been such a good disciple, here is what I will tell you. Tell this to the genie. Until you think of the next work, tell the genie, go up and down the flagpole. That's all. He'll be occupied. The disciple says, why did I think of this? Of course. And then he tells his genie, keep going up and down the flagpole till I think of something else. Keep doing that. And the genie is up and down. And the disciple is now free. And he sits at the master's feet. Anytime some work comes for the ashram, he calls the genie, makes it do, and then he says, go back to the pole, up and down. All right, great story, right? What does that mean to us? The mind is the genie. The mind cannot be kept idle. It becomes a devil's workshop, right? The ancient, good old proverb that we all heard since our childhood. An idle mind is a devil's workshop. So the mind cannot kept idle. You and I know when you get bored how terrible that time is. Time doesn't fly. It's like, oh gosh, what do I do? So the mind being idle, it kills us eventually. So what do? In yoga, this anecdote is used in this manner. Breath. Allow this is a conscious mind. The subconscious mind is the disciple sitting at the Guru's feet and learning. Why? Because the conscious mind is busy going up and down the pole. Understand that. And therefore, what we do is we use the conscious mind and focus on the breath. The spinal cord is a pole, Baba would say. And the breath is where the genie goes up and down, up and down. The mind follows the breath, up and down the pole. So the mind is occupied in the technique of breathing, in the ratio, in the inhalations, exhalations, in the world of breath, listening, feeling, and so on. The chitta is now wide open and opens into the universe and absorbs that prana that enters the body. So now the disciple is free to sit at his feet. This is the secret that is taught in many, many ways in the Sanatana Dharma, in Vedanta, in yoga. This is what yoga practice is all about. Why are we doing physical exercises? Why are we doing all these breathing exercises? They are meaningless and this and that. They're not. Neither are pujas meaningless and decorating the altar and doing all these pujas and rituals. They're meaningless. They are not. They occupy the conscious mind. And the conscious mind needs to be occupied so that the unconscious mind is open for transformation. And without that transformation, everything else is very superficial and artificial. And for the Ram and Naam to reach inside, for the bhava that you experience in the bhajans to reach inside, you need to open that. And that's why feelings, devotion, and all of that becomes very powerful. Very powerful. Because when you're conversing with your chosen form, name and form, then you go into an imaginary world, quote unquote. That is what the conscious mind understands. And the conscious mind says, okay, he's imagining, let him do that. But then that imaginary world becomes real. The more we go into that, the more we engage in our conversation, that in turn goes into the chitta and creates a different reality. There is no one objective reality out there. There is no such thing as out there. You might say, but what is the actual reality out there? There is nothing. Reality is what you determine. Is there any objective reality? From the point of view of senses? Yes, to a certain extent. Once you go beyond the senses, no. There is only consciousness. And consciousness manifests itself in the way you decide. That is why you are God. You can create your own reality. But it is not that easy, right? You might say, oh, if I'm God, then I can do whatever I want. Yes, of course, try that. It won't work. It doesn't work that way. Because the I, if Sundar says, I am God, then he is completely wrong. Sundar is not God. The I inside Sundar is God. And the moment I realize that I, then I realize that I is everything. And therefore, that I doesn't need anything. Because that I is everything. You see how beautiful, how profound this journey of spirituality is. And therefore, Hanuman is now blocked by Lankini and he does not kill her. The conscious mind cannot be killed. You can't say, I've overcome my mind, I've controlled my mind. The mind will be there. But she gives way to Hanuman. Once you know this technique, you will always keep her occupied with your left hand. In other words, through your creative pursuits. That is why it's important for children to learn something in fine arts. And not just children. It's good for them to learn that at that stage. They can pursue it. But then even for all of us to have something that we love to do, we say, right? Find your passion in life, we say. Find your dream work. Love what you do. Why are we saying all that? Because when you love something, that emotion, that feeling truly begins a transformation. It cannot become a chore. It cannot become a ritual. It has to be spiritual. The spirit has to be there in that, whatever it is that you're doing. Then that is what reaches in and starts burning the past karmas, clearing the samskaras and vasanas and all of that. The arrows that we talked about in the quiver slowly becomes redundant because of that ability to go within. And therefore we have to see something that we love to do. Do that regularly. Find more and more meaning in whatever you're doing. Become more mindful. And then what happens when you practice like this? The conscious mind will learn to understand. And then it will slowly give way to Hanuman to go into Lanka. I may not have been very clear, so pardon me, but I'm opening your mind to these kind of thoughts at least. These need more contemplation, meditation, reading, studying, understanding. So think on these lines. How can I enter my deep inside my chitta, where I have memories across lifetimes? I don't need to bring it to my conscious mind. I don't need. They already, when I look around me, this reality that I've created, that I am in, is a manifestation of that chitta from inside. That's it. Every circumstance that I was in, I feel, but that I didn't decide that. I was helpless. I mean, environment was created. No, the chitta creates that. You draw the right people. You draw the people, right or wrong, we don't know. But you draw the people, the circumstances, the events in your life based on the inner chitta, the happenings in the unconscious and subconscious mind. Because at that level, it is only energy, and that energy interacts with the universe. It is not limited and not contained inside your physical frame. That is how powerful that is. That is why meditation opens up great dimensions. That is why when you think of Vishnu, Narayana, sleeping on a five-hooded serpent with his arms, four arms, Shankh, Chakra, Gada and Padma, the lotus and the conch and the discus, the spinning wheel and all of that, and Lakshmi at his feet, that picture begins to transform something deep inside. You don't have to know what or how, but all you have to do is focus on that picture. Enjoy the beauty of that picture. When you think of Shiva, seated in stillness, lost in his third eye, lost in his self, oblivious of the surroundings around him. When you meditate on that, a part of you becomes that. That Shiva energy begins to flow through you. That is the power of meditation. That is the power of prayer. That is the power of bhajans. When you sing Ram, Naam, Ram, 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 the energy and the power of Ram, Naam blesses. So let us invoke Hanuman and chant just Ram, Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram for a little bit and listen to the Hanuman Chalisa. Hopefully this session was useful to you all.
ॐ भूः पुरुषं श्रीबजरङ्गरूपाय श्रीसाम्ब सदाशिवम् आवाहयामि। ॐ भुवः पुरुषं श्रीमारुतिरूपाय श्रीसाम्ब सदाशिवम् आवाहयामि। ॐ सुवः पुरुषं श्रीचिरञ्जीविरूपाय श्रीसाम्ब सदाशिवम् आवाहयामि। ॐ भूर्भुवः सुवः पुरुषं श्रीरामदूत हनुमानरूपाय श्रीसाम्ब सदाशिवम् आवाहयामि। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताय पतये नमः। राम 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 राम। श्री राम जय जय 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 राम। श्री जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम 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 जय राम जय जय राम 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 श्री राम जय जय 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 राम 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 श्री राम जय जय 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 राम
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारी बरनो रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फल चारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या
देहु मोहे, हरहु कलेश विकार। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम, राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर, जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर। रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा, अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी, कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी। कंचन वरण विराज सुबेसा, कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा। हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे, कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन, तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन। विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर, राम काज करिबे को आतुर। प्रभु चरित सुनिबे को रसिया, राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा, विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा। भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे, रामचंद्र के काज सवारे। लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए, श्री रघुबीर हर्षि उर लाए। रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही सम भाई। सहस बदन तुमरो जस गावे, अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे। सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा, नारद सारद सहित अहिसा। जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते, कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते। तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा, राम मिलाए राजपद दीन्हा। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना। जुग सहस्र योजन पर भानु, लियो ताहि मधुर फल जानू। प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माही, जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाहि। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होत न आज्ञा बिन पैसारे। सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन तेज सम्हारो आपे, तीनों लोक हांकते कापे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 ते हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम बचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता, असवर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबरपुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्तन धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो शत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूटहि बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होए सिद्धिसा की गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय महाडेरा। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। पवन तनय संकट हरण, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। जय श्री राम। समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु, समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु, समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु। May all the beings in all the worlds be happy. जय बोलो पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। सतगुरु साईनाथ महाराज की जय। नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव। ओम शांति शांति शांति।